not relying on a weak person like us. No, we are relying on the King of the whole kings. We are relying on the mighty, the owner of this life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قُلْ مَنْ بِيَدِهِ مَلَكُوتُ كُلُّ شَيْءٍ وَهُوَ يُجِيرُ وَلَا يُجَارُ عَلَيْهِ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Say, who is it in whose hand is the kingdom of all things, and who gives assistance, but against him assistance is not given if you do but no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said, قُلْ مَنْ يَخْلَقُكُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ مِنَ الرَّحْمَنِ. So who guards you by night and by day from the beneficence of Allah? Can you imagine if a person has committed all kinds of sin at the day, and then he returning home at night and locking himself inside his room, thinking that no one can reach him but Allah, the Most Capable and Merciful, save him until the next day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said, قُلْ لِلَّهِ الْمَشْرِقُ وَالْمَغْرِبُ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. Say, the east and the west belongs only to Allah, and He guides whom He likes to the right path. Allah also, the most powerful, said, قُلْ مَنْ يُنْجِيكُمْ مِنْ ظُلُمَاتِ الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ. Say, who is it that saves you from the dangers of the land and the sea? Allah also said, قُلْ هُوَ الْقَادِرُ عَلَى أَنْ يَبْعَثَ عَلَيْكُمْ عَذَابًا مِنْ فَوْقِكُمْ أَوْ مِنْ تَحْتِ أَرْجُلِكُمْ. Says, Allah says, He has the power that He should send you a punishment from above you, or from beneath your feet. Allah also, the most capable and powerful, said, قُلْ رَأَيْتُمْ إِنْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ سَمْعَكُمْ وَأَبْصَارَكُمْ وَخَتَمَ عَلَى قُلُوبِكُمْ مَنْ إِلَهٌ غَيْرُ اللَّهِ يَأْتِيكُمْ بِهِ. Say, have you considered that if Allah takes away your hearing and your sight and sits in your hearts, who is God besides Allah that can bring it back to you? And for you, brothers and sisters who suffer from a shortage in money, please trust on Allah that He will bring better life for you. And listen to what happened between Uthman ibn Affan, the third Khalifa, and Abdullah ibn Mas'ud at the time of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was dying. Uthman offered some money for the 3 daughters of Ibn Mas'ud to save them from poverty, from poorness. Can you imagine today if some wealthy person came to you and said, don't worry, before you die, I will write a check for your daughters, for your family, that they will not need anything after your death. I imagine everyone here will say, yes please. But subhanallah, Ibn Mas'ud refuses Uthman offers by saying that I taught my daughters what Prophet Muhammad taught me to do, and that to read Surah Al-Qari'ah every day to remove hardship and poverty from my house. What strong and trust on Allah destiny. هذا صلى على النبي الكريم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. There are so many examples of people who understand the real meaning of trusting in Allah. Look at the story of a 16 years old Abraham. He breaks the idols. Then they have fired up a huge fire to punish him. The fire spot was about 6 buildings in width. They said if a bird fly over that fire, it will fall down from the heat of that fire. They tied him up and they put him on a lifter to throw him from far distance since they cannot get closer from the fire area. At the last moment, before they throw him, Jibreel came to Abraham and he asked him, "Oh Abraham, do you need anything from me?" Do you know who is Jibreel? Jibreel has 600 wings. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent him to punish people of Lut, He raised them with his one wing. Not only that, the tip of only one wing, and he raised them up to the sky. That the angels of the sky, they heard the people of Lut crying and screaming, then harshly and strongly bring them down to the ground. How strong he was. People of Lut was almost 400,000 people with their animals and buildings, but his power and capability, Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam, he has the powerful to bring all of them up. However, Sayyidina Ibrahim radiallahu anhu replied, no, from you I don't need anything, but from Allah, yes. If one person been tied up and he will be killed soon, he just needs anybody to help him. But he has strong trust on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he recites, Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. And he falls into that fire. But Allah said, قُلْنَا يَا نَارُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا عَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ. We said, O fire, be a comfort and peace to Ibrahim. The fire doesn't harm him. The only thing that was fired is the handcuffs only. He stand up and he prays thankfully to Allah inside that fire. He has a strong trust on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The next story is also about Ibrahim alayhi salam, that when he left his wife Hajar and his infant son Ishmael at Makkah. Makkah at that time was nothing, was only a desert, no people, no food, no trees, no water, nothing. Hajar just has a little bit of dates and water on hand. She runs after him calling, "Oh Ibrahim, why are you leaving us here? Don't leave us here. I have an infant on my hand." But he doesn't respond to her. He wants her to know the real meaning of trusting on Allah. Then she asked him, "Oh Ibrahim, Allah order you to do this. Ya Ibrahim, Allah amaraka bihada." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala order you to leave us here. He looks at her and he said, "Yes." The wise wife said, "Then go. Allah will not forbidden us here." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. In Allah should the believer trust. She stayed at that desert for a couple of days until the whole water and dates being eaten up. She has no milk in her breast to feed her infant. He cries. He was almost dying. She is looking at him. What can she do? She doesn't collapse. She stands up and she has done her homework to exert some efforts. But she has in mind that Allah will help us out here. And she starts to run. She starts from Al-Safa shouting, "Anybody here? Anybody can help us here?" Nobody answers. Then she went to Al-Marwa shouting the same thing, "Anybody help us here?" Nobody here. She has done this for 7 times. And when she reaches Al-Marwa, she heard a sound. Then she told herself, "Hiss." Mean quiet, listen carefully to this sound. Then she said, "If you came to help us, answer me." But nobody answers her. She looks at her baby. She was so afraid about him. She found a strange creature standing beside him. She runs to her son. She was afraid about him. When she arrived, she found Jibreel alayhi salam standing beside her son. He hits with his wing the ground and Zamzam flowing out from that ground. She collected the water and started feeding up her son. Then Jibreel said, "Oh mother of Ishmael, where is your husband?" She said, "He left us here." Then he said, "There is anybody looking after you?" He knows the answer, but he wants to hear it from her. "Anybody looking after you?" She said, "Allah." Then he said, "Cheer up then. Allah will not forgotten you. And this place, it will be the house of Allah. And Ibrahim and your son Ishmael will build it together." Look at Hajar. Look at Hajar when she has a real trust on Allah. Allah has given her all what she needs. And look at Hatim al-Asam. Hatim al-Asam was a poor worshipper guy. He had a daughter and a couple of sons. One day, he decided to perform Hajj at that year. But his sons jumped on him, refused that, because no one will bring them food, risk. But the wise daughter told her father, go and perform Hajj, father. Because risk are not from him.